Welcome to this episode of Kelly's Reality. And today I am really excited to introduce you guys to Gretta Monahan. She is a stylist, author, lifestyle expert, and CEO and founder of Gretta Enterprises. And so we are going to talk about the confidence fashion link today and get some tips from you. And I'm really excited to talk to you. So thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Kelly. I am so excited to be here. I'm a major fan.
Awesome. All right. First of all, I wanted to check in with your physical health. I know you've recently been very open about your cancer journey. So how are you feeling? How's your recovery been? How are you?
I am very well. It's been quite a journey this year. I was diagnosed as of May, so thank you so much. In 2019, I had a double mastectomy the end of June, and then I ended up going straight into chemotherapy for 3 months. And after that, I ended up learning that I had another cell type. So I had to actually go for a secondary treatment called Herceptin. And that treatment lasts a year. And so this is an amazing moment because I actually finished that treatment this coming week. So I am feeling like August is a total celebration because, I've been feeling incredible. The treatment has been, there are all of these miracle treatments, thank God, that are helping me and thousands of women with breast cancer. And I'm so grateful and so honored and lucky that I'm able to be one of those candidates. But I can tell you that there is something, as you know, incredible about hitting a milestone of being done with something, especially like cancer treatment, because then no matter how, even if you're doing all of the things to stay positive and grateful, when you end going for routine visits, it feels like you've especially been kind of set free. It's a really, really incredible time for me and my family. Thank you for asking.
Well, I'm so glad to hear that. And congrats on that huge milestone for you and continued physical health and mental health too. And I often think that in a journey like that, where you're trying to fight for your life, literally, the physical part is hard enough. But what was helping you mentally get through this, the treatment and all of the psychological fallout from that as well?
Yeah, there's no question. I think, for someone like me, and I think many women whom I've talked to, because now as an advocate, I speak to women every day who are either newly diagnosed, struggling through, the churns of going through all the tests and diagnostics that are necessary, or maybe have even just had a mammogram or a scan that doesn't look great, and they're just starting to get really nervous and want to reach out to someone to talk to. I can say that one of the things that we very much have in common is this feeling of, going along in your life, feeling perfectly well. Maybe just before a routine screening, like all of us, you have that thought like, ooh, gosh, I hate this, mammogram I get once a year. And then you're over it and you're back onto your life. So I think when you have that abrupt stop of, okay, as the doctor says, this needs to be, further looked at. This doesn't look good to me. That's a very common, that's a common sentence, if you will, by an experienced doctor who knows the look and the shape of things that don't actually look like they should be happening in your body.
Yep.
There is a psychological fallout that is significant. And I think that for me, the first resource I used was my family, my husband, my partner. I think the partnership, we've been married 10 years now. And I think, having 2 children and how that's a major, major growth spurt for you and your husband, going from kind of being kids and only care about each other and themselves. And that's an exciting, fun time. When you have children, you have this unconditional commitment that's far and beyond anything you said at the altar it just really becomes a day-to-day reality. And I think that this is having a diagnosis such as cancer really puts you in that next echelon of having to lean and depend on your partner to help you with the feelings of being out of control, lack of confidence, and most crippling, fear.
Yep.
Fear is definitely the biggest one. And so really he was number one. And then of course, 1 and 1A are your girlfriends. I have one of my best friends, all my best friends were there for me. One of my best friends, her name is Katie Lee. She's in the food business. She's a dear friend of mine. My other friend, Rachel Ray, my very best friends from Boston, whom I grew up with, Katie Fessler and Nicole Leone. So really, really this incredible tribe of women who basically just said, hey, we're here. We're going to deal with this. You're going to be fine. We love you too much. There's too much love around you. And I think stopping to take that in, allowing myself to have my tank filled by all of that. Great people. I have a woman, June Jacobs, who's a mentor to me, and she really became like basically a guardian angel. She really just took me under her wing and introduced me to doctors. She was also a survivor, and I would say the as hard as it is to, and as devastating as it is to hear that you have cancer and being diagnosed, the silver lining, the gift you get is this enormous and incredible sisterhood of people, even people you've never met, that have lived through this, have learned through this, and have found a way to be even better for it. So, I think tapping into that was certainly where, when I couldn't do it on my own, I knew that those doors were open, and thank God, very blessed to be able to have those resources and friends.
And I love that you said I couldn't do it on my own, because somehow in our society, we have this notion that we have to do it all on our own and also look effortless while we're doing it and be perfect. And I always, like you had mentioned, it really does take a tribe, whether you are going through chemo and breast cancer, whether you're raising children, whether you're just having a tough day, that social support and the support, if you have a partner too, is just absolutely vital.
Yeah, it is. And, if it's for everyone, it's the same. And then if you have little children who really can't comprehend what's going on, that's interesting too, because certainly, we have to be what we are and we have to be vulnerable, but this is frightening, not just you, but also your little children who depend on you every single day. And even if you're not saying, to a 3-year-old, hey, I have cancer and I expect to know what that means. There's a feeling that can fill the house and that can run rampant, of course, because you're really feeling these emotions. And that's why the whole family has to check in. But first, the parents really have to get down and get deep with the realities of what's going on and find and use resources and mechanisms to keep themselves calm and in the moment as they go through these really trying weeks and months, no matter what the outcomes are.
Absolutely. Yes. And again, such a big part of mental wellness, of your physical wellness, having people around you, which is very difficult these days. It's been tough for me because a lot of times when I would see a client, my go-to would be, oh, go see a girlfriend, go out with your friends, go spend time. So we've had to find unique ways to do that. But nevertheless, that social circle is probably even more important now, even if it's through Zoom or FaceTime and we can't see them in person.
I'm so glad that you said that about now, because there's one thing that I've been feeling that I know for me, I want to take responsibility that I need to talk a lot more about is there's general mental health and there's mental health in the COVID era, because cancer doesn't stop for COVID.
Right.
Diagnoses don't stop. Marital difficulties don't stop. None of these things stop. They do not stop. In fact, I'm sure you would say that typically they become even more magnified because of the stress. I mean, this is something this level of uncertainty is something that none of us are typically feeling all the time, each and every day in every part of our lives. And then on top of it, we have restrictions to be with one another, which is just enormous to consider, whether there's addiction issues, no matter what it is. And every family has something. So I want to say on the breast cancer side, I've talked to a lot of women that have been diagnosed during this. And no matter what I went through, I never, ever had to go to an appointment where my husband wasn't allowed to be in the room. I've never had to withstand that. So I do think it is an entirely new level where people need to have support, such as yourself, just listening to you and getting this validation that if you feel like this is extreme, it truly is. Don't question your feelings. This is extreme, and especially if you pile on some very heavy things that life can toss you in a moment where you feel like you really can't take anymore.
Right. Yeah. And like we often are taught that our feelings are bad or good, or oh, I shouldn't feel like this. But I always say feelings are not they're not they happen, they're organic, they're not good or bad. So yeah, I think validating this is difficult. This time is unprecedented. Unless someone's well over 100 years old, no one's lived through this before. And just hearing another friend say like, oh yeah, I'm feeling that way too, and not feeling so alone, whether it's a pandemic or anything else in life. We just want to feel seen and heard and validated. And that's sometimes the best thing you can do for your friends right now, just listening, not even offering advice, just saying, hey, I hear you, I feel it too. I get it.
I think that is I think it's so incredibly calming.
Mm-hmm.
I own a small business, and just in the small business arena, with a lot of other females who fought very hard to get their businesses where they are. And I know you're a small business owner, just even, aside from the most important things, such as the topic of health, which we've done, with family and children and mommying and all of that, you get into the whole, building your dream. And then suddenly you're faced with all of these new challenges to reinvent yourself. And in some cases, that's really difficult depending on what type of business you are. And so, I think, the only thing that's kept me going and also kept me fueled with ideas, because I don't know if this happens to you, but for me, I can help you with your business on a stressful day much more so than I can help myself.
Oh, God.
I don't know what it is, but I am, but so it really is this incredible, this quality of creativity that comes out of exchanging with someone else who's going through whatever it is, or can share, like you said, or just listen, that sometimes restarts your mental motor and clears out the clutter, where to the opposite, if I'm letting my own voices and anxieties swirl in my head, I think it's tough to get through those days.
Yes. Yeah, it's like a boiling pot of something on the stove with a lid on it. Oftentimes, you don't see what's going on under there, what's bubbling up under the surface, until you take that lid off, and it's like, whoa. I think a lot of us are going through that right now, and so I wonder, what do you do behind the scenes, even if we're talking pre-pandemic, to get yourself in a good headspace so that you can be, a present mother, a CEO, a businesswoman, a partner? What do you do to keep your mental health strong?
So I think one of the things what was a big turning point for me was I had a dear friend, Dr. Paul Frank. He's a very well-known dermatologist in New York. And we were at a dinner party pre-pandemic. And he actually was talking about how he really peaked at a time in his career where he just felt overwhelmed every single day. All the success he dreamed of had been coming. The beautiful family he wanted was there. Yet he found himself not enjoying the moments, that he just was on this roller coaster of speed and trying to be everything to everyone. And he said, I knew I had it all. And I kept wondering, why am I just so stressed out? And he said it turned into me being angry with myself, and being very, not feeling good about myself. And he said that he turned to TM, Transcendental Meditation.
Yes.
And that was, he told me at dinner, he said, Gretchen, that was life-changing. He said, super life-changing for me. I started to, I went to a class in New York City, to the Institute. I spent a week being certified with Guru, with other people just like me, all walks of life. And he said after that, and really committing to the practice, which is not, fancy or bells and whistles. They give this certification complimentary, even in many states. They're all over the world. And he said, I just felt like that was the turning point for me, to really be able to manage my calm, manage my success in a way where I just was serving myself in these meditative moments. And I was basically filling my tank, clearing my head emotionally. And it felt so incredibly just very, very good. And it really changed my feeling of how much I could actually, what I could do to manage stress in a way and still enjoy everything that I had built. So TM for me I decided after that dinner party, I've got to do this because I was feeling a lot of effects from chemo. I was starting to go on a drug called tamoxifen, which you can even see now I'm hot because it's tamoxifen. And got to put it out there. That's what this show is about. And you know, these side effects that you go through from the drugs you need to take to obviously fight cancer. And it was changing everything, including my mood. You know, I had read about the side effects. I knew that depression could come with chemo and fatigue and all of this. And, you know, of course, naturally, I would talk to my doctor and my doctor would say, hey, you know, we can put you on this and we can put you on that and we can put you on this. And after talking to Paul Frank, I said, let me do this. I'm going to go do this. I really want to try. If I need to go on medication, so be it. But I'm not, I would like with this type of story and with how he shared, how you know, truly, you know, he really felt for a moment there, like he was just really suffering. Let's see if this can help me. And I have to tell you, it was a huge turning point. My husband, my kids, they all said, you are not as sharp. You are not as frustrated. You're not, you know, you're not getting exasperated or impatient to the degree you were before. And I want to say there have been weeks, especially with the pandemic, that I've missed. And I have seen, I've actually watched myself become kind of that, you know, the previous, which is what I was. So now I'm really a great judge of like, wow, I am in the zone of I'm peaking in stress. I've got to get back to my routines. I've got to get back to meditation. I've got to. So even just as recent as this week, I had to really start up again. I was doing it, but not consistently. And therefore, I didn't feel like my moods were as consistent or my energy was as consistent. So I would tell you that was a major change for me, something that really worked and has really helped with all of it, including very real medication side effects that are not something that we make up. You know, women feel really shamed about that. And people feel very embarrassed to talk about it, but look, we're all trying to be well. So we have to do whatever it takes. And sometimes it isn't just upside, but that there is some downsides and some, you know, some things we have to manage. So that's where it really, really worked for me. And I would tell you the next thing I hope to do is I'm not exercising consistently. And I know we're all sick of hearing it, but I do know people who've changed their life dramatically with that and changed their mental health with that dramatically. And again, this is not to take away from adjunct therapy, whatever else that is. It's just to say those are great things that actually enhance our well-being. And I believe in them deeply.
Yeah. And it's interesting. Those are probably two of my top recommendations for people: exercise and meditation. You know, they're even proven to be on the same level of efficacy as medications for especially anxiety. So I absolutely am a huge believer, proponent of those as well. So I'm so happy to
That's so good to hear. I was going to ask you, so I'm glad you offered that. And do you have a specific meditation type you like? Do you like TM, or do you think it just is individual? What's your take on all the different? Because I do think that gives people pause. Like, oh my God, I Googled meditation and there's so many different types. You know, what's the right one?
Yeah, you know, I think you're right. It's individual for everyone. I'll often say just go on YouTube and try even a 10-minute something, or even meditation can be putting on headphones, just sitting in a quiet room. You know, it's going to look and sound different for everyone. But just finding that space to just kind of clear your mind. Our world is so fast paced. We never get a chance to just be and to just listen to our body. And that kind of that connection with your body, checking in, is so necessary and something that most of us don't do.
That's true.
Enough of. So I love that. I love those pieces. And now, were you always kind of shifting to the fashion confidence connection? Because I am a huge fashion lover. I believe in
wow, look at you. You look great. I love that.
And a good outfit can change totally your confidence. But I also believe too, you know, confidence does come from within. Beauty does come from within. So I'm curious, were you always very confident growing up, or what type of person were you?
So I was shy growing up, believe it or not, very shy. I don't think people call me shy now, though I still feel a little bit of that when I'm first transitioning into a group. And I think that's weird when you're on television and you talk to millions of people a day. People assume you have no shyness.
Right.
And I can tell you more than even myself sometimes. Like, my husband's an actor, and he's an Emmy award-winning, amazing actor. And from the time he's been a kid, and he even says, like, sometimes I'm ready to go up on stage and I'm like, ooh, you know, I get nervous, woo. So I always try to open with that because it's the truth. And I think it's important for us to share that, you know, no matter how it all looks when you're here, there's that. But I think the biggest thing when I was younger was that I was very eager to be social. Like, I love connection. I love to be connected to people. I love to host people. I think that's why I ended up with my own business. I just felt like I wanted to gather, especially women who, I don't know, I have this obsession with, you know, girlfriends and women and all of it in a good way. Like, meaning, I think the energy and the wisdom that we pass to one another as a group, as a gender group, and it's tribal. And I really believe in that. I think it's healing. I think it's empowering. And it's not to say we don't need our husbands and fathers and all those people. It's just to say there's just this incredible ability to rise and transform when you feel empowered. And I think that for me, you know, in moving towards my first, you know, big endeavor, which was starting a beauty wellness spa company, it was really about that. It was, I want to create a place that women can renew after they've taken care of everyone, done, you know, incredible things in their career and with their kids and been mommy of the day and the year and the I want them to actually be able to take all that off and come in and heal and feel amazing. And that doesn't matter if, like you said, that's done in an outfit or a great pair of shoes, or it's about giving a gift to yourself, whatever that is. And so I always say, you know, yes, my medium is is fashion, is beauty, wellness, you know, spa. I love all of those things. Those are actual tactile services and contact points. But really, truly, it's really about, you know, making our soul feel amazing. That's really what it's about. It's about doing any of those things, all of those things, a little touch of those things, lots of those things, whatever it is, whatever activity it is that gets you to point the camera back to yourself. Means what I see in that is that women really do look back into the mirror and go, wow, I am beautiful. I am worth it. I do feel great. I am incredible. I needed this, you know, you needed this beat. It's just about taking a beat or a few. And I think we really need to make that okay, especially now.
Absolutely. Now, what is true beauty to you?
So I joined you today with no makeup. And hat. Because I really think, again, if you would ask me 25 years ago, and if we met each other here 25 years ago, I would have fake lashes on. And I'm not saying I don't. I love that, by the way. I still love that. And I love a good day where I'm all dolled up. But I think that there is something really incredible about loving all versions of yourself. So for me, if it's, you know, natural summer hair, or if it's a day that I'm loving, you know, the fact that I blew my hair out straight and it's really and really cool, and I'm going to enjoy that version, and I'm going to do my whole makeup, which I love. I love like a total, you know, Kim Kardashian full on makeup beaten face. That's fun too, you know. And so I think right now I'm enjoying, I think, one of the silver linings of people being at home and having to not, I think, show up with, you know, maybe at work or in different parts of their lives, you know, with maybe even, you know, so much of a cover that they've kind of grown out of it, but have been too busy to figure that out. I think there is this new transparency, you know, that's okay. Like, even we're kind of compensating because now we're distant because you and I aren't in a room conversing, you know, a foot from one another. We're doing it via, you know, the portal of digital, but I'm willing to be more me here, you know, and I think that's it's a major beauty trend, you know. So what does that mean? Does that mean that you're throwing all your makeup away and never, you know, enjoying that, and people thinking, oh, I love my lipstick, it makes me feel so good? No, It doesn't mean that at all. But it does mean that people are looking back. They're saying, you know what, I used to hate my eyebrows, and I used to think, I would just never pay attention, or now I'm going to actually let them grow in. I'm going to, I'm going to shape them a bit and see how they work naturally, and not over pluck and not over, wax or, over laser. And I think that by people pulling in and kind of pausing for a minute, they've been able to see more beauty in themselves by letting a few of those things go. And so, I have my salons open. I have half of them open now, and my spas, and everybody's been rushing back so excited because, they've missed their self-care. But I think more than that, they've missed the connection.
Yes.
And we have found, my team of experts and I have found that we are pulling back. Like we're doing things, and we're, people who've had 2 inches of gray, when they love their hair colored, we've been going in and refreshing and doing all of that. And people walk out and they're floating on air, and it's amazing. Or they come to the store after and they go to Gretta Lux, and we dress them all up in something amazing, even if it's quarantine appropriate, like what you're wearing, something comfortable that's colorful and makes them feel good. People are floating out. They love it. They love it. It's just incredible. But I do think that, I think that pause spiritually wasn't such a bad thing.
Yep. I agree. Yeah. It's been a hard reset for people to really think, okay, what is most important to me, and how can I keep that going after we eventually return back to this new normal?
Absolutely.
Now,
and I think it's about enjoying a version, like a broader version of yourself. Like, like if I did this every day for 10 days, I'd start to feel depressed because I feel so incredible when I get dressed up and ready to go. I feel like, boss lady and powerful. And I love that. And I want to be able to always find that in me. But I think the limitation of thinking it's one or the other, I'm hoping that's permanently in the past.
Yes, me too. And you're right. It's really finding different versions of yourself, and you are all those things. It depends on your mood, what you feel like doing that day, and really just kind of coming back to the saying, beauty is well, it's more than skin deep. It's truly how you feel about yourself on the inside and what you radiate to people, whether you have makeup on or not, whether you're, wearing your Louboutins or house shoes, it's really from within. And I wonder, how do you work with women that maybe don't like what they see looking back in the mirror? They don't feel confident. They don't like their body or their looks. How do you help them to feel more confident with who they are right now, that version?
That work is probably the most emotionally connected to that work. And that work is what brought me to TV. So, I had already started my business, having beauty salons and spas and taking care of women on a daily and weekly and monthly basis personally. And then my styling business started up and became very, very busy. And that's why I was flying back to New York and actually all over the world styling celebrities, and different people in media and in the spotlights, 15 years ago or so. Yeah. But what ended up happening was I was tapped to come in and do a makeover on a news program. It was the first one. And basically they found this woman, and she had actually lost her husband, and she had gained a lot of weight. She was feeling extremely bad. So it centered and started with mental health and just life imbalance and difficulty. But what it caused was that she looked back at herself in the mirror and just said, I don't recognize myself. This wasn't me. I always loved myself. I remember that. I just feel like I'm lost and I need help. I can't find my way back. It's a new life. I'm challenged. I feel I don't know how to reinvent myself. I need help. And I remember saying, well, if you take my hand, I'll help you, because you're there. I see you. But I think we need help sometimes to see ourselves. So let me work with you. Let's have this moment. And it really did come down to what you said earlier, which is sometimes it does start on the outside. I know everyone wants to think it doesn't. I am here to tell you, after doing makeovers of everywhere from, Tim Gunn and Bravo to television shows, I still do them. I love them. They're my life's work. When a woman gets that assistance, anyone gets that help, and they can move all the clutter of those painful experiences out of the way, and again, just be indulged, and we can also help them to re-recognize or actually prove to them that they're beautiful, that they're worthy, that they're sexy, that they're stunning, that they can go out and find someone to love them again because they love themselves. It's a really it's not a little thing. It's an unbelievable emotional hurdle and change. I have people who I've made over, 10 years ago still message me, still email me, tell me about the progress in their life that really took place from that day forward because they felt reconnected to themselves. It is by far and by large the most important part of my work, the essence that I love, whether I get to spend an hour with someone or like on some of my television shows a full week. And we do everything from, like you said, decluttering mentally all the way through. I would obviously have partnership like a pro from like you, but we've done it all where we've brought all of the mental health care in, done that as well as dealt with all of the outsides. And to me, that's the most amazing gift of all. And it's real and it happens.
Oh, yes. So. Yeah. And that's why, like I always say, if putting on a full face of makeup and a killer outfit gives you confidence, you can't take that away from someone. And I agree. I am a firm believer that beauty is inside and out. It's a combination of liking how you look, liking how you look inside, and you can help facilitate that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's the best. It feels so incredible to see, like, honestly, you have that minute people, they look and they're like, oh, I'm beautiful. Oh my God, I look so beautiful. And I'm like, you just told me 30 minutes ago you were ugly. No, you're not. Like it's unbelievable. It's crazy. It's the greatest thing ever.
Yep. Yeah. And just helping bring that out. And whether it's wearing the right size clothing or a cute accessory or showing off a body part they do like, ways to, there's always something
you
to
just said a big one though, and I didn't hit on it, but you said right size clothing. So I want to stop here so your viewers have it. I want to tell you that more people ask me the one biggest mistake that women make that make themselves feel awful. It is absolutely not choosing clothing that is flattering and really makes them feel good. And usually it has to do with overcompensating on size.
Yeah. Yep.
And that you nailed it. Like about more than anything else, when I take someone and she says, I could never wear that. That's not my size. I'm not a 6 and I don't wear a waist and I always wear a muumuu and I'm not wearing something that cinches. And once I go, are you willing to stand back and let me do this? Because you have to give me complete control. I got to be able to have you trust me and step into this. Then I'm going to show you in the mirror what I'm talking about. They're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. I didn't know I had a waist. I can't believe that. So this whole thing happens. And then that's the beginning. They start to shed that old distorted view of themselves. And now they're like, wow. And the whole entire world opens up because they're like, I didn't see any part of me on that, that dress that you had hanging there in my mind was meant for only someone else, never me. And never, ever. I would never in a store go near it. I would never put it on if you didn't make me, So to your point, it's a big, big piece of that is pausing. And sometimes you need a girlfriend. You said you tell people to get help just to talk to. Sometimes I do that to go shopping, to get someone who's really, really for you and loves you and has a good eye. Sometimes it's great to have that person with you.
Yes. Yeah. I'm always, anything that brings you confidence, do it. That's what I always say. Like, as long as you're not hurting yourself or someone else, like go out and do your thing. And it's interesting too, because I think there's so much psychology behind the number on the scale or the number on the clothes. And there's so much emotion between that I'm sure that probably gets in the way of people picking the right clothes or, yeah, that's tough.
It's blocks that we put for ourselves. And I feel like I've had, now that I'm older, I just turned 50 this summer.
I would never have guessed.
Well, I want to say it because there's a lot of things that plays. You think, maybe I'm 50 and I should do this and I shouldn't wear that. And I should give up jean shorts. Meanwhile, today I have jean shorts on. It's all these falsehoods that are fed to us either subconsciously or, and it's just like, no, you need to have a blank canvas to be exactly who you are because spirit is ageless. It has only to do, I think beauty and fashion serve you when they serve your spirit and personality. If we're copycatting trends, if we're trying to be someone we're not, if we're trying to be someone else, it's just always disingenuous. And it you know what it does? It ends up feeling, it makes people exhausted. They feel tired instead of energized. And I would say that's the biggest way that I diagnose someone is out of sync with their style personality. I wrote a whole book on it because it was something that was happening over and over and over again in my experiences.
Yes. Excellent. Yeah. So really, I mean, yeah, the psychological piece, the confidence piece, so much. That's why I love fashion. And I think there's so many ways to express yourself through it, and beauty, the whole beauty industry. Now, what's the best advice someone gave to you when you were younger that you still, or a quote or something that you still kind of live by today?
That's a really good question. I've had a lot of them. I would say probably the best advice is, really to believe in yourself, not be afraid to make mistakes. And if you are afraid, to just ignore it. I had a really insanely successful entrepreneur say that to me. She's like, there's no such thing as not feeling afraid to do something or try something. Sometimes the key is just to ignore it and barge on in and do it. And I think that is a very valuable piece of success, because I think procrastination and stopping and pausing can hold us back. Over considering certain things that we want to do for ourselves can actually really cost us enjoyment and satisfaction. And frankly, we should feel a lot more protective about those feelings, because that's the best part of loving yourself, is to have that moment.
Right. Yeah. And just like you said, getting caught up in even comparison. I know with social media now too, it's so easy to compare your life or your success or your house to someone else. And I always say you don't know what goes on either to get to that point, or if it's really a real version you're seeing. I had no idea the amount of Photoshop and apps that can do so many things. I'm like, what? So
I love that you did a post on that, because I actually read that and I thought it was really meaningful, because I think there's a lot of people, and you're the expert, but I think there's a lot of people feeling really bad. Social media does have that incredible, disparity. It can either be really enhancing to your life because of connection, but it can also make you feel like you're not part of a club or a certain status or a certain lifestyle, which, like you said, is a lot of it is generated. A lot of it is just a new form of entertainment and fiction. But it really, that's not easy to figure out if you're just someone who's kind of looking. And I always say to people, if you feel like you are looking like, if you're outside of the fishbowl all the time, maybe you're scrolling too much. Maybe you just need to build out your life portfolio. If it gives you enjoyment, share images and share moments that are important to you. And that's it. Stay, just keep it captive. You don't only follow people who make you feel like your soul is full, or like you're giving something really, really important in what you do when you post and share. And that's why you have so many devoted followers like me and fans. I try to guide and say to people, just unfollow and drop anything that isn't serving you. And I loved when I read in your post that you said the same.
Yes.
Made me feel good.
Yes. And, I think it's so important. I always say the same thing. If someone's not inspiring you to be a better person or bringing you joy, or, again, life is too short. And before you know it, you're scrolling through and you've spent even 15 minutes, an hour on something that makes you feel terrible about yourself.
Absolutely.
Just be really aware of where your time and energy is going. Put that into your family or your business, or you're furthering your education, whatever it is you want to better yourself. Gosh, even 15 extra minutes a day that you're now scrolling, feeling bad, put that into that instead. It's so important. Oh, man.
Really good advice. Really good advice.
Yeah, that's the one thing. I really try to push that a lot, especially with social media now too. And I love it. I've met a lot of really cool people and friends through there, but I'm not immune. I definitely have moments where, I'm up late at night with the kids scrolling through. I'm like, oh gosh, I'm the worst parent ever. Or
my husband told me that. He said, you said, look at them, look at the fun they're having. And I was like, I did. And he's like, yeah, like as if we don't have fun. We have an amazing life. And I want to say that for my partner, like you got to have a partner who checks in with you and is like, wait a minute. No self-hating here. Like it's really important. I think and I was like, I really didn't recognize that, some of these people and family who I love, who I'm following, I'm thinking somewhere down deep, it's hitting me like, oh, they're better. We work too much. We this, we that, no, our kids are thrilled with, and we're thrilled. So what are we doing? And he's like, no, I think it's getting to you. And I'm like, wow, I'm going to have to check that out. Maybe it is.
Yeah. No, I love it. Like, totally agree with you. If something's not inspiring you, whether it's an in real life friend, a social media feed, a job that you hate, trying to really take, especially this time now, I think the pandemic's had us all do a hard reset of, okay, what's really important to me? What are my core values? Am I really following what matters to me? And making that a huge part of it as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I think I'm on to my final question with you. I would love to talk for 6 more hours, but if people are interested in hearing more about you, where can they find you? Tell them about your book.
Oh, great.
That stuff.
So my book is called Style and the Successful Girl, and it really pretty much is a guide to really finding and syncing up your best style with your spirit and personality. I help people define and try to give more clarity to their organic, natural personality type, what they love, their lifestyle type, and then build a wardrobe that really, really, really emphasize and celebrates that versus being completely hooked up into trends. I do use celebrities for great style because I think that it's wonderful to have, if you will, takeaway and and something to look at. And if something makes you happy because you just love Cameron D's, if you love her vibe, then it's no problem for you to take that inspiration and for us and for me to help you sort of build your own vibe that has that little bit of spark and inspo from that. But what I don't want to do and what I always discourage is women copycatting, which I said earlier. So the book goes into all of that, whether you're in your career or you've had kids or you're learning how to be, at work less and at home more, which is happening. And I think right now, again, we're in a revolution of change style wise, because as you said, we have hit a hard reset. So I think everybody is staring into their closets. They're looking at themselves and saying, lifestyle's different. Headset is different. Everything is different. I'm either going to feel out of control and crazed and continue to try to go backwards, or I'm going to, push myself to jump forward. And the only voice that's going to be real in that is the one that says in the mirror, I'm comfortable. I feel good today. I feel really good today. It doesn't matter what's going on. Now I can go out and face it. Deal with the challenges, deal with the issues. I'm comfortable. And this works for me. I think I'm authentically my best self. So my book is there. My handle on Instagram is at Gretta Monahan, 2 T's. I spell it wrong. And I'm also on Facebook as at Gretta Monahan, Twitter. And, doing stories from the store, trying to share. And please, if you want to go on to GrettaLux.com, you'll see all of the kind of designer dispatch and all the fun beauty and spa and fashion in one place. So that's what I'm doing.
Well, I'll be ordering your book. I feel like I need to get on that, and
I will definitely send you one. I'd love that.
Thank you. Perfect. Yeah, I feel like now is the kind of a time to just reinvent yourself almost.
Absolutely.
You want to portray for not only yourself but what others might see too. So I love it.
It's a great opportunity. It really is. If ever there was a moment to be okay with change, it would be now. So
start over, start your life over now.
Just do it. And you know what? If it's wrong, who cares? You just change it again.
Right. Yeah. And people always tend to give more credit to what we think others are thinking of us. And I always say the reality is people are so self-absorbed. They're not probably thinking about you as much as you think they are. So, do it for you. Don't worry about what others think and just follow your own dreams and values.
That's so true. That's so true. What a great, well, I'm going to take that away with me. So thank you so much today for having me.
For joining us